at a park in the shade, taking care of some phone calls for business, healthcare. I have a Zoom call for an upcoming job in about 35 minutes, and I wanted to discuss my unique lifestyle. I'm currently in the Seattle, Washington area while getting away from the Arizona heat for the summer. It was 104 when I left Arizona in June. And since then, my friends who have been watching my property out there have been sending me updates. And it's insane. 117, 119. It's hot. So, I'm up here now. And since I don't have, people to stay with, I'm up here staying in my SUV. Now, I don't know that I've talked about my SUV camping journey much on here. It's something I really should make a YouTube video about, but it just seems like a lot of work. But I was thinking about where I was going to park tonight, and that made me think I should talk about some of the crazy places I've slept in my SUV while traveling the country. Well, I won't say traveling the country because I've really only been in the western states. I've stayed in apartment complex parking lots. I stayed in a library parking lot, which was good and bad. It was good because I think there may have been Wi-Fi there. I don't remember if they turned it off at night. But it's right off the side of a highway, so a lot of cars coming on the off-ramp made noises, which made me think there were people outside, so it wasn't a restful night. Another apartment complex comes to mind. I'm currently in school for healthcare to be a nursing assistant. I really want to go into hospice caregiving and ultimately be a death doula. So I stayed in my school's parking lot, and I'll probably stay there multiple times going forward because I start clinicals soon, and I am hoping the weather stays comfortable enough to where I don't need to get Airbnbs again. I've stayed on the side of the road. I've stayed on the side of Highway 101 in Oregon. I've stayed at a cheese farm. I've stayed at countless rest stops. Rest stops are actually my favorite places to stay. And I've heard horror stories about rest stops, and in fact, I'm pretty sure there are actual horror films about rest stops. I don't know what rest stops those are at, but the ones that I've been at have been nice. I've stayed in rest stops in Washington, Oregon. Have I stayed in rest stops in Oregon? I feel like the rest stops in Oregon were all closed. No, I did. Oh, I stayed in that one with no cell phone service. Okay, so there's a rest stop in southern Oregon near the Redwoods. I don't remember the name of it. I went through the Redwoods, and then I went to the southern Oregon coast to meet up with another solo camping friend. And when I left there, I had to drive back down into California to go back up into Oregon. And that was a crazy drive, and I'm pretty sure that's where Bigfoot lives, if there's a Bigfoot. And when I got to the rest stop, I realized I had zero cell phone service, and nobody knew where I was at, and that's usually the case. It's very rare that I tell people where I'm camping at, so that's probably going to be my demise. Like, I'll just disappear, and they'll find my SUV at a rest stop, and me and my dog will be nowhere to be found. So yeah, I stayed there, which was not surprisingly quiet, but that one was cool. I've stayed on the Oregon coast, in Cannon Beach, at whatever that park is outside, right by Haystack Rock. I've stayed at pullouts on the side of highways, friends' driveways multiple times. I just park in their driveway. A lot of times our friends will try to get me to stay inside, but at this point in my life, I just don't want to be an inconvenience, and it's awkward. It's weird for me to stay in their house, and it's weird for them for me to park in their driveway. I think some people are starting to get used to it now, though, and like a couple of my friends will give me the key or the code to get in, to use the restroom or what have you. I have stayed in all of the Planet Fitness parking lots. Tip: I think there are multiple Planet Fitnesses in Kent, Washington, but one of them is probably the most ghetto parking lot ever, and I ended up staying there after a crazy night of watching nothing but crime. Like, I'm pretty sure, I'm convinced that parking lot is like a drugged in. And I watched, there's a bikini barista across the street from the Planet Fitness, and I watched a man break in there and then just walk away casually, and no one cared. That is sketch. Oh, you know what? Both Kent Planet Fitness parking lots are sketch, because there's another Kent one. There's one on the top of the hill in Kent, and one at the bottom of the hill in Kent, and the one at the bottom of the hill in Kent, me and the van lifer I was parked next to both left after watching some insane shit. So in that parking lot, I pulled in, and I was on my phone before I went into the gym, and I saw a person outside who was clearly either on drugs or something mentally was going on. They were dancing in the parking lot, kicking around a can of some sort. Well, the can exploded, so the liquids just flowed all over the parking lot. Well, they took the blanket that was on their back and started to wipe up the fluids with the blanket in the parking lot. Then another person came up, and they were doing the weird juggling. I'm gonna admit, I'm real naive when it comes to anything other than like weed. I don't know. But I watch a lot of it. I love that the show. I used to watch Intervention all the time, and I've been lately watching videos about these fentanyl zombies and something called Trank. I don't know if it's the same or not. I probably sound really dumb, but they were doing this like zombie walk that I've seen in a lot of those drugged out Skid Row videos. Then they walked over to a van that I assumed was just another van lifer, because I watched the van pull up and the guy got in the back, so I just assumed, oh cool, it's another van lifer, another nomad parking here, sleeping here. Well, they walked up to the van, and then one of the people got in the van and the other one started casing cars in the parking lot. So I'm pretty sure there were either drugs or sexual favors, or maybe both, happening in the back of that minivan. It was sketch as fuck, so I left. I have parked in a grocery store parking lot. The one place I'll say that I've never parked is a Walmart or a Cracker Barrel. I know that those are very common and people talk about those a lot in van life. I don't know. I just have never seen a Walmart parking lot that looks safe to me. I was thinking about where I was going to stay tonight, and I want to stay kind of close to the gym, because I'm starting my first day of work as a caregiver tomorrow. So I like to stay kind of close to the gym, but I haven't really sketched out that area. Where else have I stayed? I've stayed in the middle of the desert countless times in Arizona. I stayed in this really cool spot by Mount St. Helens. A nice thing about SUV camping, I don't know if this is even considered camping or if it's considered living in my SUV. I have a home, it's just not here. So yeah, when I went to St. Helens, there's some established campgrounds nearby, but a lot of places don't welcome car campers. They want you to have a tent or an RV. So I found this cool side road there. I don't know. It was great. It was awesome. There was a beautiful sunset, and then in the morning we went on a nice walk and saw some, I think it was bear scat. I don't know. Oh, I stayed in this, also was near Mount St. Helens. I went up a road that I had no business going up. I mean, I was hours down Forest Service roads, and I found this very steep road that my tires very well could have popped. I was halfway up the road realizing I don't know how I'm going to get down because I didn't know what was at the top. Again, no cell phone service, and nobody knew where the fuck I was. It's not that I don't value my life, but I just want to explore and live a little and have some adrenaline, I guess. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm thinking when I'm doing those things, but at the top of this rocky road trail was a clearing, so I parked there for the night. And I went for a walk, and I heard something growl in the woods. I heard something growl. It's not a growl that sounded familiar to me, like a dog growl. It didn't sound big like a bear, but I've never heard a bear growl. I'm assuming it was some sort of cougar mountain lion thing. I don't know. I don't know what other things out there growl. But I sure as fuck turned the fuck around. We got in the car, and that's where we stayed for the rest of the night. There was no hanging out outside, because I didn't know what the fuck that was, and it was getting dark, so I wasn't about to drive down that crazy trail to get back to civilization. So we just stayed in the car and hoped for the best. I do carry motion lights with me sometimes, and I tried to set those up, but I don't know. I can't remember. I couldn't get the right angle or something. So in the middle of the night, I remember it was about 2 a.m. My dog started acting weird, but she was quiet, very quiet. But she moved to like the furthest spot in the car from the back passenger corner. And my bed in my SUV is on the passenger side in the back. I took the second and third row seats out of my vehicle. And whatever was in that corner outside of the car, she was terrified, but she wouldn't make a noise. Normally she'll whine or bark. So in the morning, when I got out to walk her, she was smelling that side. I think something may have like pissed on my back passenger tire, maybe marking it, maybe smelling, because they would have smelled me. Probably I was on that side. So there was something out there that was a little creepy. Yeah, I've stayed in some cool spots. I try not to stay in places that don't make me feel safe, because that's where you're gonna get snatched up. But this is me. I live part-time out of my SUV, I guess. I have food, water, clothes, bed. Ivy's got her food, water, clothes, a bed. We have our snacks, laptop, books, fan. I don't have anything to cook with in here because I don't feel like I have the space, and I don't have anything to keep my food cold. I have been thinking about upgrading to get a power station so that I could have a fridge in here because I very much like ice. I love ice. And I would like to have something more than a rechargeable fan to keep Ivy cool when I am away from the SUV. But yeah, maybe I'll talk more about living out of my SUV part-time. I like it. I can be stealth. I have window coverings most of the time. When my window coverings are up, no one would know there's anyone in here. I have been butt naked outside of a grocery store, a Target, a friend's house, in my SUV, watching TV, streaming movies, whatever. It's very free, that's for sure. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Sometimes you'll see an SUV with blacked out windows, and just know that I could be inside, naked, watching Apple and Onion cartoons while coloring. You never know. Thanks for listening.